the stage where to be a part in hurts and lights only when I see you kiss my cheek. I said this is great, and I hope that I can make it last like evergreen
So why do you guys think that was a successful campaign?
I don't get it.
You don't get it? There's an interaction with the customer. So the way that a campaign worked was, you essentially you would essentially use their app, or you use your video on your phone, and it would capture a kiss, essentially. And you could send a kiss to someone using this app. You could write a letter and a message, and the kiss would actually be put on the back of the envelope. You send it to someone, but the important part is the capturing of the image of the lips. That individual could actually choose a color palette from their lipstick collection. So the female would choose a color she liked, kiss her phone, it would capture the lip print, put it on the letter, and actually send it off to another individual. And the other person would interact back. Why that was so successful is it got the customer actually knowledgeable about the product and the brand. There would have been no way that they could have gotten a female or a customer familiar with a color palette. That's why it was so successful. They were able to get emails by who they were sending them to, and then if there was an interaction back. So they were building a customer base off of an interaction on an app, choosing a color, and making it fun. And the most important part for Burberry is that it's a category of product where it has the highest gross margins across all categories. Any kind of cosmetic has the highest gross margin. And that's really good information to know, that they were actually to build this relationship through this single app.
So by kissing your phone?
By kissing your phone. And that was very innovative for that time, for 2012, for Burberry to actually think of this campaign to capture that type of interaction with the customer. So that's why it was a very successful campaign. Brought awareness to higher margin categories, which is the cosmetics essentially. Any kind of accessory has the highest margins. Pop-up shops. I know we're going slightly over, so I think we're okay, but I'm going to continue, and then hopefully we can then go into Q&A. Pop-up shops. I spoke of this earlier. This is, I guess it goes to the question, why are retailers going into pop-up shops or brick and mortar when the retail industry in general is not doing well? People aren't shopping, there's a lot of uncertainty around the world, it's a hard business, hard sector to really be successful. They're going into brick and mortar to actually learn about the customer. Now this goes back to when Amazon was going to bookstores and actually going to Amazon Go. It's a powerful marketing channel. It gets people aware of the brand other than online. Right? So it gives them another way for the customer to interact with them. And they're using technology to study behaviors. This goes back to Amazon Go. They know if you picked it up and put it back. They then have to know why you did that. Is it because it was the wrong flavor? Was it the wrong price? They're analyzing that information so that the next time you pick it up, they'll actually buy it. So they're using technology to understand the customer, and that's why they're going into brick and mortar. Not because they have all this product, they actually need a place to actually sell it. There's actually a strategy behind actually going into brick and mortar, and it's usually to learn about the customer. And again, Amazon Go and Amazon Books. Warby Parker. This is a great example of a business challenging the current way things are being sold. Has anyone heard of this brand? Warby Parker is an eyeglass brand that is only sold online. Those are some of the collaterals that you get when you actually purchase. The way it works is essentially you go online, you choose 5 different types of frames, things that you think would fit you. They send you the 5 frames to your house, you try them on, you choose which one you like, you go into your account online and say, oh, I like glasses number 1 or number 2. You send all of the frames back, then they send you your glasses with your prescription. You never leave the house. You make the decision at home, in front of your own mirror, with your own clothes and different outfits. You could buy them all, you can only buy one, you don't have to buy any of them. You didn't actually have to go into the store and actually purchase them. That's innovative. They've made it easy for the customer to actually purchase something without actually making any effort other than making a decision on their own couch in front of their own mirror.
Do you think it's just easier if you go to a glass store, take 5 yourself, you like try it on, decide if you like it, and try it?
A lot of people, that's a very good point. You could go to the glass store and actually do it yourself, but a lot of people, they say they're busy, they want to do it on their own time. Going to a glass store, you either have to leave work early, you have to say I'm going to do it on a Saturday on a weekend, and spend 2 or 3 hours and do that, and then you have to sit down, fill out paperwork, you have to measure everything. It takes time. They actually have all your measurements, you've already tried on the frames, you know it fits. You've chosen online, and it gives you the time to actually think about what you want. When you're in a store, you're under the pressure of actually having to make a purchase. You feel like you've spent this time to go there, I have to walk away and make a purchase. And if you don't, you feel like you've wasted your time. With this, you don't feel like you've wasted your time because you're doing it maybe in between activities at home while you're doing your laundry or something. You're going to make some selections. Then you're going to maybe think about it for a while. Tomorrow, I'm going to make the decision, send it back, and then next week you have your classes. It wasn't hard at all.
You have feedback from an external point of view. You have feedback maybe from your husband.
Exactly.
But you don't have any feedback from somebody who knows.
Yes, there are downfalls to that. You don't actually have an optician giving you the professional feedback, but you do also, if you have the chance to actually have other friends or people within your family give you feedback. So there are some downfalls.
This is, for example, a concept that I understand works in the US but will not work here.
Okay.
When I say, okay, I get the glasses, for return glasses, I have to leave my home because I have to take it to the post office.
Okay.
And when you leave home and do that and stand in line for the post office, it also closes at 6.
Okay.
I can go to the glass store.
Got it. Yeah, so that's something that's different for different customers across the globe. That would be something they would want to know about the customer here in Europe before they actually come here. Because usually the European customer shops differently than the US customer. So it's a different profile, and they would have to modify their strategy to be successful here. So that's a very good point. Why did they go to brick and mortar? Allows the brand to be in locations where customers reside. So they're an online store, and they have now opened up brick and mortar stores. Why did they do that? They've opened up stores where their customers live. They know where they're concentrated. They're now in the neighborhoods of where their customers actually buy. When they've actually opened those stores, online sales increased. It adds value to the purchase online because now they've experienced something other than just a website. 23% of the consumers actually purchase more because now they have a different experience and they can build on the brand experience that they've already started. And up to 20% of the customers who return online purchases make an in-store purchase. So it reinforces the brand and continues the conversation. They go make the return, but they actually walk over and they actually buy something else. So it's actually a win-win for the brand itself. The luxury market. I think if I'll briefly touch on this is a very larger discussion, but I'll just briefly talk about it, and then we can move on to Q&A. So the luxury market is a different beast, if you will. It deserves a larger discussion. It's a very competitive area of retail, as you probably already know. Your customer is very demanding. They expect a very unique experience, and not every brand can execute that very well. Fashion shows used to switch from a strategy of a buy now, see now. So once you see it on the runway, it would be available for you to actually purchase. That no longer worked for them, and they're now doing a runway, and then several months later, you can actually go into a department store and buy. There was a disconnect between offering things immediately after the runway because they were losing time with the customer in store. So they went to a buy now, see later. More collections. So to be competitive, they're doing seasonal collections, small capsules, making sure they have a summer collection if they never had one, or other extensions of the brand. Musical chairs of creative directors. You see creative directors from YSL leaving, possibly Dior, and then also Valentino, moving from house to house just to stay fresh and new to the customer. So you have these creative directors moving around when they should actually be staying with a brand for several years to make sure that their messaging is heard by that customer. You don't get to build that relationship with the designer because they build one capsule collection or maybe 2 seasons and then they leave. How to keep in store exciting and new. We talked about this briefly. It's a different format across the globe. Same store in Paris is going to be different in New York. You're not going to find the same assortment. Late adopters to technology. We talked about very high-end stores not having availability online, and this is very, very true with luxury brands. They are very, very scared of going online because they cannot control the experience. They want to control the experience, so they don't put their products online. They want you to go to the store because they want to talk to you and make sure you're hearing the right things. New ways to communicate. A lot of these luxury brands are now communicating through Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. You would have never experienced any of these luxury brands ever going on any of these channels. But they want to build a reputation and a relationship with a younger customer who will then start to buy them as they get older and make more money. And so if you're using Instagram, you're using Snapchat, they're going to be talking to you that way and building a relationship with you that way. Emerging markets. Talked about this briefly. This is where brands were going outside of the general mature markets to find growth. That's no longer working for a lot of brands because there's a lot of uncertainty across the globe, economically, and instability across the globe. So the growth that they used to see in emerging markets are no longer there. Sorry, I'm going quick because I know we're out of time. So where are we going? I think with all of what I've said, the market is going to continue with e-commerce growth. So a lot of brands are going to continue to focus on e-commerce. The balance between transaction and fulfillment. So making sure that what's executed online, you're actually getting the product when you expect it, and it's being supplied to you within the time frame that is efficient and fast. Engaging with digital technology. So again, more technology. Learning to be more agile to change. As the customer changes, the brand needs to change, and the online experience and the in-store experience needs to change. Because we're all growing and changing every day, every season, we're changing as individuals. So brands need to change as well. And transparency, going green. There's always a brand saying that they're going green, they're saving the environment, they're not using as much water, they're not using harm dyes on the leather, things like that. They want to be very transparent because the customer today cares about those things, and that's a connection that they're making with this generation. And that is my presentation. Does anyone have any questions?
What I see in the last years is that a lot of brands open up their own stores,
Yeah.
single brand stores. My question is the single brand store taking over the traditional reseller, or is it a retailer for the mass market, or is it just an addition to that?
I guess it depends on the brand itself. A lot of, if I understand your question correctly, these are brands who are now selling directly to the consumer versus possibly wholesaling. I think brands have to find new ways to build growth and conversations. And this is a next step for them possibly, where they now have to build a relationship directly with the customer. Again, it's controlling the conversation. So when they're actually selling directly to them, they're able to communicate the actual story that they want the customer to hear. When you walk into a department store or any other store that's selling the product, you don't have that control because the associate actually selling it might say the wrong thing. They might not be as attentive to the brand. They might not care for the brand personally, but have to sell it to you. So that is all very important to a retailer to control. Because when you walk into these environments, they can't control where the product's placed, who's actually selling to them, or maybe no one is helping them. You're standing in front of a counter and wanting to buy something, and there's no one there to help you. That's the experience now that that customer is having with that brand, regardless of whether it's the brand's fault. But that's the experience you've had going to purchase it. So they're now trying to make sure that they're directly speaking with the customer, and the way you would do that is actually B2C. So having your own website and actually having your own store.
In your opinion, why do you think Amazon is so much more successful than eBay? What is the reason?
There's two different businesses. Clearly, eBay caters to kind of resale and used, if you will, and sometimes there are some new things. So you can't really make the comparison. Amazon, though, is successful because the trend is the customer is more comfortable shopping across categories. And when I say cross categories, that means also buying more expensive things. So Amazon is able to sell you things that are €1 to 1,000 euros. They offer that range. And as the customer evolves and gets more comfortable actually making the online purchase, Amazon is there to offer that product. I know for myself, I wasn't comfortable spending, say, more than a couple hundred. And then at some point, I actually was willing to make that jump and say, you know what, I'm going to make an online purchase, and it's a couple thousand, and I have not seen the product. But the only way I was able to make that transaction happen is I knew I could return it. You have a great return policy, and that you had the comfort knowing that if it didn't work out, you could actually send it back. And that's what they're able to provide you, is the assurance that if it doesn't work out, we'll take it. So I think that's why they're successful. You have very strong fulfillment, you'll get it on time, and they'll take it back. A lot of small companies can't take the risk of sending a product out and then getting it back damaged. They can't afford it, but Amazon can.
Do you think that there's a market or a branch which will never sell online? So,
I wouldn't say never, because there are things where you thought would never be online, like vintage clothing or vintage jewelry. But you're seeing that online now. You would never think that they would be selling cars online. You can go online and actually build your car online, print it out, go into a car dealership, and then they would actually look for that car for you. So there are permutations of the purchase. It might not necessarily be the actual transaction where they're taking your cash, but there's certain processes of the online experience that they're trying to capture with you at home. So I think every brand is trying to do something so that you're interacting with them and that you will then go to the store and execute.
So in terms of technology, what do you think is the future bring?
I think, no, go ahead.
With the delivery, it was like with the stores, it was like a robot kind of, that you don't need the person.
Yes. I think with technology being the forefront of where retail needs to focus, they're going to, I think mobile phones is going to be one of them, where you're making sure that your mobile experience is going to be supreme, if not just as good as the in-store experience. So finding ways to emote the emotions and the experience that you would actually experience in the store. That mobile application needs to be fantastic. As far as in-store technology, I would agree, probably something of the robotic. There are stores in the US where they have robots roaming the aisles, and you could actually ask a question or have a product in front of it, and it'll give you information. So that is possible because it is happening in the United States. So I wouldn't say never, and I wouldn't say no. I would say technology is going to be part of the answer of where brands need to go.
I have a question regarding luxury brands advertising on Snapchat. In your opinion, do you think that's actually very efficient because the age group of people that use Snapchat are still very young and they might not even look at the advertisements? So do you think it's worth it for them to be inappropriate as well?
I think it is, and the only reason why I think so is that it is getting you familiar with the brand. Whether you're buying it now, the way the luxury market works is, there are different levels in which they actually communicate and where the customer is willing to spend. So an entry-level type of buyer wants to learn about the product, maybe be willing to buy a wallet or something, but they need to build that relationship with you. They're giving you behind-the-scenes information of maybe a model taking over the Snapchat account before a runway show. So you're getting to see behind-the-scenes information, or maybe even there was one where Valentino had a Snapchat where it was before the actual collection launched. You got to see all the drawings on the mood boards. You got to see the fabrics and the colors before it hit the runway. So you're actually feeling like you're getting information before anyone else, and that's important for the brand, for you to be excited about what they're going to present, and then for you to then go into a store and actually experience it. So it's not necessarily to execute a sale, but to get you excited about it and learning about it.
What do you think is a good strategy for small stores?
For small stores, can you elaborate a little bit?
Maybe new brands, smaller, new to the market.
New to the market. Well, with our experience with helping brands actually build a brand, knowing who's your customer, what is your product, and does it solve a solution? How are you competitive and differentiating yourself from other competitors? Anyone can open up a store and open up, sell anything online. But you have to ask yourself is, how am I making myself different than the other website? Am I competitive on price? Am I offering a different color? Am I solving a different problem? And how am I different in communicating and reaching that customer? Am I going to do the same type of marketing they're doing? You kind of have to think about how you're differentiating yourself so that you stand out. Secondarily, technology. I think you have to have a website. You have to have a story and explain who you are, because people want to know. It isn't enough to just sell something online and expect someone to buy it. There has to be, again, a conversation.
Two questions. I don't know how you insight into the European market is, but what I'm interested in how regulated retail or like I think about pharmacies, for example, how they're. I know how pharmacies work in the US, but especially the German-speaking region is very, very closed, very restricted. Number one, and number two, how do you see the future of the job future of the simple salesperson?
To your first one, like for example, pharmacies, I think to any of the businesses that I explained in the cases, these were businesses that were, if you will, disruptors. They challenged what was currently being offered in the market, whether it's doing a pop-up store, being innovative with technology, do Warby Parker, sending you product at home. That is challenging the norm. And as you say, there are regulations. There will be a time when they're going to challenge regulations. And that's exactly what Uber did. They challenged the current market for the taxis, right? That's how they were built, that's how they became successful. Interrupters, where they're challenging regulation policies, are going to be the ones that are successful. There are going to be challenging times to actually get that through, but they will ultimately be the winner if they actually position themselves correctly. There'll be hurdles in going cross borders or cross continent, but I think it'll eventually happen. Everything that the retail industry that we said would not has. So we are now selling more than what we ever thought we would. Cross categories, not just books and all these small little things. We're selling so many different categories online now. So I think eventually we will see something online. I know for myself, I have a pet. I can buy my pet's medication online. And so eventually I think you'll start to see the ability to purchase pharmaceutical type things cross borders. When that'll happen, I'm not sure. To your second question about associates, can you repeat the question again?
How do you see this, because sales associates, especially in Austria, is a very large job market. How do you see this evolving or disappearing?
I think the sales associate will always be there. I think it'll just become a more difficult role to fill because of the one customer. They're now serving one customer, and that customer is very, very knowledgeable. They've done a lot of research. They know a lot about product and know a lot about the brand that they're shopping for. So it's even more important for the associate to be knowledgeable about the brand, what the products they're selling. It's no longer acceptable for an associate to just stand there and say, what size do you want? Or do you want to try it on? They should be as informative as what you can read online. And that's hard because not a lot of associates are going to be willing to have that information or make the effort. So it's challenging to find that balance of very good sales associates that will execute a sale, who are excited about the brand, because those are typically the ones that are going to be able to be as informative and be able to have that conversation with the customer. And rarely do you actually find that type of associate that has that type of excitement. And when you do experience it, and I'm hoping that one of these days you'll walk in the store and you're having that conversation, you'll know when this associate is really good because they're engaging, they know a lot, and they're making it feel comfortable for you to actually shop in the store.